Hey guys, this is Kevin, and for today's video I'm going to answer a question that someone asked a few days ago about flying into the Philippines for the first time, and some advice and tips on flying there, the Manila airport, and that kind of thing. So what I'm going to try to do here is share everything that I started doing after doing this trip several times to make my life a little bit easier. Now, let's first talk about the ticket. In terms of buying your ticket to go to the Manila airport, there's not really a trick that's going to give you a super cheap half price ticket that I'm aware of, but a couple of things to keep in mind. The further in advance you buy your ticket, the more reasonably cost it's going to be. The more reasonable the costs are going to be. And also, if you avoid times that are what we would call peak travel times, then that's going to cut down on your cost too. So, for example, if you try to travel to the Philippines right around Christmas time, it's going to be more expensive. But if you wait and go there in February, which is more of a off-peak time, it's going to be less expensive. So that's the way it works with buying a ticket. In terms of the airline, different people like different airlines. For where I live, I really like flying Delta because they would go through Japan. And the one time I tried going with a different airline, I didn't really have a very good experience. So I personally like Delta, but maybe if you're more on the West Coast, you may like another airline. But anyway, those are some thoughts on buying your ticket going into the Philippines. Now let me quickly cover something, and I'm going to try to do this without getting too confusing. If you're just going to visit the Philippines for a couple of weeks, then obviously you'll have your round trip ticket and it's no problem. If you're planning to stay in the Philippines for quite some time, let's say 2 months or something like that, you will still need to prove to the Philippine immigration that you are capable of leaving the country within 2 to 3 weeks. That's because when you go to the airport, you're only going to be asking for a short visa, a 21 to 29 day visa. So it's important if you're visiting the Philippines for a long period of time that when you first come into the country, you have what people call a forwarding ticket or a throwaway ticket or a disposable ticket. And that is simply some kind of proof that you can leave the country within a couple of weeks. So what I would advise you to do is find a ticket going from Clark to Macau, the Clark Airport to Macau to Hong Kong, something like that, and buy one of those and bring it with you when you're coming into the country. You do not have to use this ticket. Notice I called it a disposable ticket. It is simply proof that you have prepared to leave within 2 to 3 weeks. And that way, when you ask for your 21 to 29 day tourist visa, they will not give you any problems. Now, once you get in the country, you can extend your visa very easily, but I'm not going to get into that in this video. So that's the ticket. If you buy a round trip ticket and you're only going to be there a couple of weeks, no problem. If you're planning on staying longer, you will need a forwarding ticket for maybe a couple of weeks after you arrive. You're not going to use that forwarding ticket, but you do need it as proof that you are planning to leave. Okay? All right, so that's the ticket. Now, in terms of flying, there are some things that I have always done for these long flights that have helped me, and they've also helped me get through the airport. Here's just one example. I always wore a fanny pack with me when I was traveling, when I was flying. It does make it look like you're about 20 years too late to have a fashion statement, but there are some reasons that I did the fanny pack, that I would always wear that thing. And here are a few. One, when you have to go through so many airport security checkpoints, it keeps you from having to empty your pockets out. You just put your wallet, your passport, everything in there, and you can just throw that on the X-ray thing. It comes through, and you put it back on, and you're done. Another thing is, for me, it was nice to have a few items with me that I wouldn't even have to open the overhead compartment to get to. So in terms of my backpack, my fanny pack, I would have my wallet in it. I would have my passport in it. I would have some earplugs in case I wanted to go to sleep. I would have some over-the-counter sleeping pills in it. And I would also have a pen to fill out whatever forms coming into the Philippines, like immigration and customs. I would also have that in it. So having all that together in one little thing that I could just carry with me and just have basically in my lap the whole time, I found that to be very convenient. A couple of other things that I did, I bought one of those little neck pillow things. It's really nice to, if you want to go to sleep, you can just kind of lean over and you can knock yourself out with a sleeping pill. That helps out with the trip. I usually wore a hooded sweatshirt because to me that was just an easier way to keep warm than to try to keep those blankets up on me that they would give you. And you could also pull the hood over, cuts down on the noise a little bit further, and helps you go to sleep. In terms of luggage, I usually did a few things with my luggage to try to make it easier for me to find when it came through the carousel thing, and that would make it a little bit more secure. Because one problem that you do have in Manila when you arrive is that there have been cases where the staff at the airport have opened up people's luggage to help themselves to whatever's in there. There's no way to protect yourself against this 100%, but what you can do, like what I did, is I always use these little TSA lock things, and I would lock the zipper to my luggage. That way you had to unlock this thing to open it up. And this is a TSA lock you can find in Walmart, anywhere else. That way, if in America the TSA needs to open your luggage, they don't have to come get you and get a key. They can already get into this. But once you arrive in Manila, then if your luggage is locked, obviously that can't completely keep someone out of it, but it can at least slow them down or make them decide to go to the next piece of luggage. Another thing I would do is I also use these strap kind of things and would wrap these around my suitcase. Also, you can buy those at Walmart. And I did that for two reasons. One, it does kind of help keep everything tight and together. It would slow someone down if they wanted to break into your luggage as well. Now, it's just a clip on it. It's not that it would slow them down that much, but maybe it would make them think twice about the fact that they're going to have to undo that thing and then and then figure out a way to open up the lock. Again, what I want is just to slow anyone down who may try to break into my luggage. Another advantage of that strap is that when all your luggage comes out on the carousel, it's going to be helpful if there's something that makes yours a little bit different. If you have 1,000 pieces of black luggage coming out, it's nice if you have something that makes yours stand out. Another thing I'll add there is I would usually buy one of those labels for my luggage. And if you find one that's bright yellow or bright blue, something like that, that's just another way that makes your luggage really easy to find when it comes out of the carousel. Okay, so those are a few things that I did to make my luggage secure. One thing I'll add is another thing I did, maybe this was paranoia, but if I was coming into the Philippines with a new pair of shoes, I would put one shoe in one piece of luggage and the other shoe in another one of my pieces of luggage. Again, that way, if someone does make the decision to go to the trouble of breaking into my luggage, then they could only get one shoe. And what good is one shoe going to do you? So, adding one final thing I will add about this whole luggage thing: do not put anything valuable in your luggage. I do have a friend that had a camera stolen out of a Foot Locker kind of thing that she had with her. You want to make it to where if someone does decide to open your luggage, about the only thing they could get is underwear and socks. Anything really valuable, you want to keep that on your carry-on, your backpack, something like that. So that's the luggage. Now, once you get into Manila, or once you get close to Manila, you will be handed two forms. You'll be handed an immigration form, an immigration form, and a customs form. The customs form, I don't remember what all's on there, but I always put nothing to declare because I never carried anything with me into the country that required that type of declaration. The immigration form is just you'll have a chance to write the address where you're staying, so maybe the hotel, or be sure that you have an address with you that you can put on that form. It's probably not a big deal, but it's going to help. You can just write tourist or vacation on the reason for visiting, and that's that. The immigration form is not that complicated. Now, once you arrive in the airport in Manila, you will at first be directed to this huge room that is the immigration, and there will be several lines and kind of all leading to different booths where somebody's going to ask you a question or two for immigration. Immigration is going to be pretty much a cinch, especially if you have followed my advice and you either have a ticket going back to the States or a forwarding ticket somewhere else. You just, once you get to the booth, you show them your passport, you say, I would like a tourist visa, and they will give you a 21 to 29-day tourist visa with very few questions asked usually. I say 21 to 29 because back when I was visiting the Philippines, it was 21. I think they've extended that to 29. But anyway, immigration is usually not going to be much of a problem for an American citizen. Getting in the Philippines is not that difficult. Once you get through immigration, you have to wait on your luggage, and that can happen very quickly, or you may be waiting there for quite some time. I've gotten through the airport in 20 minutes, but I've also had to wait there for 45 minutes. It really just depends. Once you get your luggage, remember, if you have a strap or something on it, that makes it a lot easier to find. Your next step is to go through customs. And again, customs is usually not a big deal, especially if you have put nothing to declare on your customs form. You just walk by a customs booth, hand them that form, and usually they will just let you go right through. I've never had my bags inspected in the Philippines, except for one time when my bags came much later, and they had to deliver those to me a few days later. In that case, they did open up and inspect my bags. They did not take anything because, again, I didn't really have anything in there to take. But anyway, that is the Manila airport. It's not that difficult. Now, your next step is leaving the airport and finding a ride either to another airport or to your destination. What I would recommend that you do is, upon exiting the airport, look to your left and you should see a line of yellow taxis. And those are the ones that you want to take for a couple of reasons. One is the price for those is standardized. It's still more expensive than, let's say, taking a taxi around Manila somewhere, but the price is standardized. And also, those people, because they are let's say, a company, they're going to be pretty honest with you in terms of taking you where you're supposed to go. So I would look for those yellow taxis upon exit. Now, by the way, if anyone's listening to this video and has another piece of advice, or if something has changed since I was in the Philippines a few years ago, feel free to leave that in the comment section. But anyway, that's the advice that I would give you for flying into the Philippines for your first time, or if you're returning there again, and maybe I've given you some tips that you want to try next time. That's great. I hope this video has helped you. So anyway, feel free to leave a comment or a question, and I will try to make another video as soon as I can.